Hello my good friends of Unbox, so yet another bargain from Parkside. First of all, subscribe if you didn't, please, because I want to offer you more videos every day. I want to offer you more products every week. I want to show you a little bit of my life, and it's possible only if you subscribe, only if you help me out, please guys. Now, let me show you. This little soldering station for 12 euros. 12 euros. Yes, 12 euros. Came with a little sponge, regulation, two little soldering spirals, let's call them, included 1 millimeter and 1.5 millimeter, and two soldering tips, which I already burned as hell, using them for everything else in the world. I soldered just a little bit with this one. I cut, made holes in plastic, repaired plastic parts, built some very nice filtration systems for my aquariums by making infinite holes in plastic containers, plastic bottles, etc, etc, etc. I use this for everything you shouldn't use it for, and it still works. PLS 48D2. This soldering station is amazing. I'm gonna solder a little bit right now with it, even though the soldering tip is basically gone. I'm gonna show you a footage of me making some tips for this soldering. I will show you already made tips, but they are very simple to make, with a threaded bar, so that you can literally have infinite soldering tips for basically nothing, which you can use to modify plastic, fix plastic, cut plastic, or whatever else you want to do with those tips. Let me show you one of the tips I made. Here it is, threaded bar. As you can see, it's a threaded bar. 1 meter of this threaded bar I paid 89 cents, so it's nothing. And I made this one long 4 centimeters, so you basically, guys, can make infinite tips for infinite jobs, okay? And use your conventional soldering tips for soldering, so you don't ruin them, as I unfortunately did. So my good friends, as promised, I'm gonna show you right now how do I swap and use the threaded bar self-made DIY tip, which I used basically for a lot of jobs in order to make, punch holes in plastic, connect pieces of plastic, cut through some plastic containers, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, the tips are, the original ones at least, of the Parkside tool are easily removed. So pretty basically I found out that a common threaded bar, I think it's an M6 or an M4, something like that, fits perfectly into the threaded part of the soldering iron, I'm sorry. So what I did was just, buying this very long bar. It was like a meter for 89 cents, so it's a literal bargain. And I cut it and shaped it in this, pointy way, which is what I needed to punch holes in very big containers and make them work for me as bucket shower filters for my aquariums. So I basically, shaped it this way and used it so much that, as you can see, it's very burnt. But at least I didn't keep ruining my original Parkside tips, which, by the way, I don't know if they are very easy to find. So basically, I decided that I will use this method to build future soldering tips, always using a very cheap threaded bar. So in this case, I gave it that shape, but in the future I could, I don't know, flatten it up with a hammer, or give it a weird shape by cutting it or filing it somehow, so I can use it better on plastic, so I can use it to solder plastic, for example, and repair some bumpers or something like that. Or I can use it, for different shape and forms of different jobs that I want to do with plastic or other materials which are easy to work with an ironing tip. So guys, this is my trick. I mean, I know it's not a big secret, but it's pretty nifty in my opinion that we can solve the problem of the soldering tips just by using a very cheap and affordable and accessible threading rod, which we can find basically in any Home Depot or any, you know, common little shop. So that's what I did, that's what worked for me. Obviously, I'm not advising you to do it because I don't want you to damage your Parkside soldering units, but to be honest, it worked for me and I never had any downside to using a threaded bar as a soldering tip. Let's go back to soldering and let's go back to the original video so we can see if this thing works as a proper soldering station, which, well, that's what it is made for in the first place. Okay, let's go. Now guys, let me solder just a little wire to my thermostat, which we will use in a future project, so you will see what I do. Now, let's take the pliers, cutting pliers, electrical pliers from Parkside, 12 euros, and to be honest, they work pretty fine. And let's try, let me see. Okay. And let's finally try to put some solder on it. I want to use some flux, even though it shouldn't be necessary because this one is a very new, pretty clean wire, but still. Let me see what I can do here. Well, let's use the original one. Oh, as you can see, I didn't even use the solder. It was so pretty, I didn't want to ruin it. I want to be honest with you guys. So I always used other kind of solders I have laying around the house. Okay? Okay, that's nice. And now, let's pick up a piece of cable which I want to solder to. So, crimping pliers and a little bit of my usual flux. Well, too much flux, but it's still fine. And now let's go and put some solder on the wire because I want easy connections. I want to be honest with you guys, I'm not good at this, okay? I am an informatic. All the manual jobs I do, I learned them by myself. I used to work in constructions when I was a kid, obviously. Now I'm not anymore, unfortunately. But I try to, arrange something when I need it. I try to make something different every day by myself because I like DIY. That's all. Okay, I'm not a professional, so don't get mad if you see crazy stuff on my channel, and if you see I'm not respecting regulations and stuff, is because I am a DIYer and I do pretty much what I like and what I want. Okay, so now let me try to put together these two wires. Okay. Okay. They should be holding up, and yes, they are. Now let's put some little insulating tube on it, and let's tighten it up with fire. Okay, so now guys, what I wanted to show you is basically that, soldering with this soldering station is easy, even for a nub like me, even for a person who isn't really able to solder by any means. I am just, you know, here for hobby. I try my best, but I'm clearly inadequate for this. This is not my job. This is not what I live for. I am a DIYer, so whenever I have to solder something, I do solder it, but, you know, that's all. I'm not able to do things in a professional way. I am just able to save myself sometimes some money, and instead of calling a professional, you know, I try to solve problems my own way. Okay, but I just wanted to show you guys, let's switch this off, that soldering with this kind of machines, very inexpensive one to be honest, I mean I paid it only 12 bucks. It's easy even for a guy like me who has nothing to do with soldering or with electrical works or jobs at all in his life. Okay, so guys, let's talk about this for a second. $11.99 or $11.90, I will put a screenshot up here right now. You will see this is a bargain. This is possibly one of the best in Europe right now. If we are talking price, if we are talking about the machine, if we are talking maximum temperature, we should be 550 grades centigrades Celsius. We are talking about the perfect machine. This plastic is tough as hell. I think this is mixed with some kind of fiberglass plastic because it's so tough. Even the little sponge is nice. I mean, even the little sponge. Nothing is missing. Switch on and off. Temperature, you can regulate it from 1 up to 5. You got the 2 little spirals of solder. You got 2 included tips plus the trick that I showed you. So guys, for real, I don't want to say this is the perfect machine, but for $11.90 or $11.99, I don't recall very well. I'll put up, I already put up a nice screenshot. This is the perfect machine. So it may be simple, it maybe has some flaws, which I don't know. Maybe I was a lucky owner, maybe all the other ones are defective, I don't know, but I don't think so. The price is unbeatable, guys. So a real bargain for everybody. If you find it out there, buy it. I believe this could be up to 25 euros in the future, because this is way too good to pay only 12 bucks. I paid 12 bucks for it. Probably was an offer, probably I was lucky, I don't know. Go out there if you find it. If you know it's on sale in your local Lidl, go and get it, because it is truly amazing. And the regulation works well, because I remember when I was soldering plastic, I wanted the temperature to be a little lower, so I put it like on 2 or 3, and it didn't burn my plastic at all. It just helped me out repairing a plastic filter for my beautiful aquariums. So guys, I love you ever so much. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are amazing. You are giving me the energy to make these videos every day. I am so happy to present to all of you guys out there in the UK, all of you English speaking guys out there, pieces of my life every day. I send you a big hug. See you soon from Unboxo. Let's go, guys. Come on.